Welcome to the Bait Boys Podcast, the podcast where everyone pretends to know what they're talking about, but nobody really does. My name is Jesse with Freek Baits Custom Fishing Lures, and I am joined today, as always, by my illustrious co-host Trevor from Peak Baits and Anthony from Lazy Baits Co. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Fantastic.
Always just a riveting response from you two when I ask that question. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty ducky.
Pretty ducky.
Pretty ducky. Oh, great. And we are joined today by Jon Mitchell from Jon Mitchell Fishing, MLF fisherman, farmer extraordinaire from what I understand as well. And
Yes.
He's joining us live from his cave. Jon, I will say that you probably have the coolest background that we ever have or ever will have on this podcast. So great job on getting that set up. I'm pretty jealous. I like it. How are you today?
I'm just fine. It's a work in progress. I will always be willing to add some more baits to the wall.
Who wouldn't
I might be
be?
able to help you out with that. We'll see. We'll see how today goes, and we'll.
Hey, wait. From the last podcast, I will say I'm not one of those guys that I'm gonna bug you guys about. Hey, send me free baits. I'm gonna catch a 10-pounder on it.
I'm gonna catch you.
Anthony, any baits I've ever got from Anthony, I pay for them. Because I am not going to catch a 10-pounder on your bait.
And then I promise to send them baits, and I don't send them for months.
Wait, that
I'm
sounds like me.
what colors do you want? And then I never get them painted.
That sounds familiar. I think I have some baits that I need to paint for somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know. It's not important. Doesn't matter. But yeah, we'll get more from Jon here in just a second to see what it's like to be a tournament angler in Major League Fishing. But first, we got some announcements to make, and the big announcement is we are now on Spotify. As of episode 4 last week with Zach Finds Fish, we are every episode going forward, and I'm still working on trying to get the first few uploaded on there, but every episode going forward will be available on Spotify in both audio and video format. So that's pretty awesome. So you can follow us on Spotify. We do have comments enabled, so please be gentle, but we'd love to hear from you. And yeah, if you want to give us a good rating on there, that would help too. So if you're not into the whole YouTube thing, or you want to listen to just the audio version, you can now do that on Spotify. So that's pretty awesome, if you ask me.
I think it's
awesome.
freaking awesome.
To me, that was a game changer today. I got to download the audio, and while I was out in the field where I have zero service, I could listen to the podcast the whole time I was out there. That was a good way to kill a couple of hours.
That's a good point.
Heck yeah.
When I'm fishing, I never have service. I might have to
so
watch our videos through Spotify now.
Yeah,
But
while
listen.
you're out there fishing, everybody watching or listening, just
Listen
Or
remember,
to
going
our
to the gym
nonsense.
if you're into
What?
getting in shape and all that, download
People
the
do
podcast
that?
Yeah.
and listen to it. Yeah, people do that.
yeah, that's
Gross.
the last thing I want to hear is my own voice whenever I'm at the gym. I'm just gonna, that's
You go to the gym?
but maybe once or twice a year, maybe. But any other announcements? How are things going in the world of Peak Baits and Lazy Baits Co? Anything crazy going on?
We're sponsoring the Bass Buddy tournament through Veterans Fishing, and me and Trevor joined up as Team Lake Lax. I think we're in like 5th place. So it's on Tourney X. Check it out. I'm donating some baits.
That's awesome. So not only is Lake Lax sponsored an episode of the Bait Boys podcast, they're sponsoring Team Lake Lax
Now they're sponsoring
in the
us.
Veterans
Yep.
Fishing Buddy Tournament.
That's right.
How are y'all doing in that? Where are you at? Where are you ranked? It was pretty high last time I looked.
I think 5th.
Fifth, last I looked.
Yeah.
All right.
And we don't even have a limit yet. I think I got like 6 tiny ones, like 6 11-inch bass.
I only got one.
Yeah, 1 18-inch. I think we're gonna. I think
Well-
there's 20 teams. I think we're gonna come in 13th. I'm happy with that. You don't think so?
Just not last. Don't want to be last.
Top 5?
That's a valid point.
No, I think you guys will do great. I thought about it. I thought about joining, but I was like, I barely
If you're
get time
not
to
first,
fish
you're
anyway.
last.
And I'm not a competitive person at all.
Me
so
neither.
It doesn't, so it doesn't really matter to me. But no, that's awesome. Good luck to you, gentlemen, in that. Go Team Lake Lax. Can I be the
Lake
official
Lax.
cheerleader?
Please.
Sure.
Okay. I'm not very pretty,
gonna
but
wear a
I can yell
skirt?
really loud. No, not anymore.
You're fired.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, we also, before we get to John, we have a new segment, brand spanking new from the man, the myth, the legend, Trevor. And this segment is called Let Trev Cook.
Holy ducks, Batman. How's it going? Cooking with Trev. That's right, we're out here in the bush right now. See? And found something pretty interesting. It's on the menu tonight. That's right. Duck. I assure you, they will not be missed. I left many. We out here cooking with Trev.
All right. So, while I was out chasing slimy green fish, I find this flock. At first, I thought it was like some northern shovelers, because they got that spatula-shaped bill. But it wasn't what you're thinking, but it's worth it. You're going to be excited. I'm excited. I can hardly contain myself.
Well, I personally cannot wait for part 2.
I can't wait to see what you're
Trev
cooking.
Cook. Can't wait to see
I'm
what Trev's
cooking.
cooking up. Great.
What's in your vent?
All right. Well, huh?
What is that in
I
this
can't
vent?
really tell.
Oh,
must
behind the
just
scenes.
be-
Yeah, right there.
Must just be
Oh,
Part of the flock?
part of the flock.
maybe we'll find out next week.
I believe so.
They going full Bruce Willis and Die Hard and infiltrating through the vents? Is that?
Yes.
Are they coming
that's
after
Think
you?
they're coming after all of us?
They followed me home.
Trev for stealing part of the flock. Gotta watch
small
out. Watch your
part.
back, Trev. Watch your back, Trev. All right. Well, without further ado, let me reintroduce our guest. Again, we are lucky enough to be joined by Jon Mitchell from Jon Mitchell Fishing, MLF fisherman, farmer, and honestly, this is the first time I've actually got to meet Jon and talk to him, so I don't know a ton about him, per the usual with our guests. But I know that Anthony and Trevor are very familiar with him, and I'm looking. I think we're gonna get along just fine, Jon, from our initial conversations. So I'm not worried about it. But why don't you tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself?
I don't know. Let's see. Where do I start? So first and foremost, I'm a punk rocker, skateboarder. I've been skateboarding since I was 10 years old. Took some pretty heavy slams that put me to the point where I can't skateboard anymore. I decided to push a femur down through past my knee. I just can't skate, so I had to find something to
Ouch.
do. I've always loved fishing, and that was just something I could do. And I just started fishing, and like with anything else, I can't just sit on the bank and fish. I'm looking across the pond, across the lake. I'm like, I want to get over there and fish where the fish are breaking. Bought a kayak, started kayak fishing. That still didn't scratch the itch, so I was like, I got to tournament fish. I got to see how good I can do. And so I did some kayak tournaments, and I hooked up with Frankie and the Slay Nation Tournament Fishing, and my buddy Brian. I talked him into it. We decided to start doing some tournament fishing, and it scratched the itch. I was like, oh, man, this is what I want. I want the competitiveness. I want the fish, and from there, it's still if you're a fisherman, nothing's ever good enough. A 5-pounder is never good enough. You want a 6-pounder. I was like, I'm getting a boat. I got a boat, started doing some other fishing, started doing some bigger tournaments, and I found MLF, where you can start out on kind of a grassroots weekend thing with Phoenix bass boat fishing, and I really, really enjoyed that. Until I got to the point where I was 3 points from Angler of the Year. I needed literally one fish, and for the first time ever, I got backboated. And if you've never been a co-angler in somebody else's boat, you're kind of at the mercy of how they want to fish. And you hear the stories, all these people complaining about all the fishermen running live scope and all that. And at that point, back then, it really wasn't a big deal. Not everybody had live scope. But being that I needed one fish and my boater just would not turn the boat where I could fish the bank, I said right then and there, I was like, I will never put my destiny in somebody else's hand. And from that day forward, I became a boater. And I was like, if I'm gonna fish, if I'm gonna do bad, it's gonna be my fault, not somebody else's fault. So as a boater, I put my destiny in my own hands, and that's just the way it goes now. If I have a bad day, I've got nobody to blame but myself.
Yeah, that's
brutal.
Obviously, you don't have to name
I
names
feel
or
bad.
anything, but like. Yeah, but
Well, I mean,
was this person in were they like purposefully
no
keeping
okay,
you from?
And we can talk about this later about if you get into what the fish tournaments and stuff. MLF has a great program for getting you into tournament fishing, and you don't have to have a boat. I'm not sure exactly if Bass is still doing it. I know during their opens they had some co-anglers. I think this year they did away with the co-angler side of it. But with MLF, you can sign up as a co-angler. You get your tackle bag and your rods, and you get on somebody else's boat, and it's almost like having a guide for the day. And you only compete against the other co-anglers, and the boaters compete against the boaters. And it's a great format. You can learn a tremendous amount about fishing if you're with the right boaters. But I'm not going to say you can't be with. There's always that chance you can be with somebody that's a jerk and won't let you fish. They're gonna, like, especially like when it comes to bed fishing time. They're gonna you can have a guy that's like nose down in his boat fishing a bed for 3 hours trying to catch 1 4-pounder, and on the opposite side of that, in the summertime, you can have a guy sitting out in 30 foot of water chasing a school of fish, and he's chasing those school of fish on his forward-facing sonar, and you're just in the back of the boat like, well, I don't, what do I do?
Sending it into nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's some strategy to it as a non-boater. You can sit there and you talk to your boater before you get out on the water, and you say, hey, what are we going to do today? Are we going to beat the bank? We're going to be in 30 foot of water. We're going to be fishing fast. We're going to be power fishing. We're going to be finesse fishing, then that kind of stuff. But I had a lot of fun as a co-angler, but I just didn't want my day to be. I didn't want to be able to blame my boater for me not having a good day. So that's why I decided to become a boater. Now, it works both ways. As a boater, I can tell you, as a boater, I have had more co-anglers win money or place in the top 10 than I've had. I think since I've had co-anglers, I've only had one guy that zeroed, and I did everything I could do to get him one fish. And it got to the point, I remember being on online or on stage with Steve Sizemore, and I was like, if this pro fishing thing don't work out, maybe I'll become a guide, because I'm pretty damn good at being a guide. I put my codes on fish all the time. I mean, I've had guides, co-anglers, second, third, fourth, fifth, top tens, outfished me from the back of the boat, and most of these guys I am still friends with to this day. Al Norman, I met Al Norman on the back of my boat, and we talk all the time. Great guy. And these guys pay to fish too, and I want them to have a good time. I paid to fish this tournament, but technically I didn't really pay because my sponsors pay for it. So for me to be able to sit there and show somebody else a good day and let them enjoy fishing for the day, man, that's really more fun for me. Don't get me wrong. I love coming across the stage with 5 fish and winning. And that hasn't happened yet, but it's in the works. It'll happen. Fishing's like anything else. We call it fishing, not catching.
Exactly. And yeah, I've talked to. It's not a regular conversation that I have. It's not like I know a whole bunch of people who are pro fishermen, but I have talked to a few, and all of them seem to be like, it's the getting started that's hard. It's the getting the win, getting like your first win, getting your like the big fish, whatever the prize is, or even everything from just weekend local derbies up to the big show. It's a little difficult. So why don't you kind of walk us through like how I know you said you started in kayaks and then went to co-angler and then boating, but like whenever you're fishing these big tournaments, like how did you get to that point? Because I would imagine there has to be some sort of approach, because there's a lot of people that try and fail. Like there's a lot of people that try and they're just not able to cut it after the first season and they stop. What do you feel like is the right approach to getting into tournament angling at a high level? And walk us through all of it. Like how do you get started? How do you find sponsors?
Okay, I will
share what you're willing to share.
Okay, I'll share everything. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
If you want to fish as a profession, you have to be ready to fail. You're gonna fail. For instance, last year, probably the worst year I've ever had, not only as a tournament fisherman, but as just a kid fishing. I just couldn't do anything right. The big fish that I did catch, I'd lose them at the boat. I had my first zero. That's the one thing I was always proud of. I've never zeroed in a tournament. Last year at the Harris Channel Lakes, during a MLF Toyota tournament, I zeroed for the first time. And I always kind of set myself up for that. And I was like, I know it's going to happen. And I just want to, how am I going to handle zeroing when it does happen? I'm like, bro, it's John. You're Jon Mitchell. You've never not catch fish. And sure enough, one day it happened. And and I'm gonna tell you, this is a beautiful story. I had we were down at Harris Channel Lakes, down in Florida, and I had told Carol, I was like, look, I just something is different about this tournament. There's something different about this day. The whole ride there, I had hurt my back before I got there, and but something felt different. I was like, is this my day? And I go out 5 days of practice, and I found fish like right off on a lake I've never been on. And if you've never been to Harris Channel Lakes, it's gigantic. First, I had to figure out how to navigate all of the lakes. I had to learn how to navigate all these canals to get from lake to lake to lake. And I pull up out there, and I got Carol on the back of the boat, and she's working from the back of the boat, doing the job and stuff. And I'm like, and I immediately start catching fish. I'm like, holy smokes, this, what a premonition or whatever, this feeling that I'm having. I was like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is going to be the day. Well, fast forward to day one. We get out to the spot where I found fish, and I didn't catch one keeper fish. I caught some 8s and 10-inch fish, and those aren't keepers. Now, my co-angler on the back of my boat, He's in second place for day one. It's not that I wasn't on fish. I just wasn't catching fish. And I had to deal with the fact that not only am I sucking at fishing today, but my co-angler back here is absolutely stomping me in the ground from behind my boat, behind me. So he's fishing behind me, catching all these fish. And so I get back to weigh in. I don't get to go weigh in. And here's another great part of the story. We had a good 45-minute boat ride back to the boat ramp, and I was like, "Here, let's head back." We head back, and we got about 10 minutes worth of fishing. We pull up on the side. I was like, "Let's fish down this grass stretch right here, and see if we can catch one more fish or something." Man, my co-angler smokes an absolutely monster. I mean, it's so big, it's covered in grass. Everybody at the weigh-in, I mean, there's like hundreds of people here at weigh-in. The weigh-in boat, or the check-in boat, they can all see us. The fish is so big, it's covered in grass. I scoop it up, I throw it in his lap, and I've got literally 30 seconds to get over to check-in. I throw it in his lap, I motor over to check-in, and the guy at check-in was like, "How big was that fish?" Everybody saw it. I was like, "I have no idea. It's still in his lap." Well, that fish turned out to be an 8-pounder. And so this guy's weighing in an 8-pounder and four other 3.5, 2.5 pound fish. We get up, he weighs in, he's in second place for the day. I didn't even weigh in one fish. He hands me this pamphlet that he had written himself about one last cast. And that's kind of what this is one last cast. And he was a Christian guy, and he prayed before we took off and asked if he could pray with me. And I was like, absolutely, let's be safe. And you know what? I realized right then and there that feeling that I had about that day, it wasn't about me. It was about him. And I'm going to tell you what, that was the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen fishing, because that was the day that I realized this ain't all about me. It's about the day. It's about your co-angler. And that's why, and I took that with me. And that's why, I do Warriors fishing. I want to get people out on the water, and as much as I love to fish and tournament fish, it's not always about catching the fish. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to it, and you got to see the good and the bad sometimes. And I just you're gonna have to do one of your reels.
You're
one of your tracks, because I said S word.
It's okay. I enjoy it. It's fine. Go fire away.
So I just got back from the James River, and again, man, I had found fish, and this was the first time I've ever fished for Bassmasters, and I did not have a co-angler with me. This was all about me. This was my day. I'm running about 62, 63 miles an hour down the James River, and for whatever reason I spun a prop, and I was like, this can't be happening to me. And I didn't know what to do, and I was like, I'll just fish. I'm like about 5 miles from the ramp. It was 6:30 in the morning, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'll just fish from here back. I sat down, I thought about it, I composed myself, and I threw an old Texas rig over near the bank and smoked a 5-pounder right there. And I was like, look at that. No boat, no motor, no nothing. And I just caught a fish. I was like, let's go fishing. And that's just the way this sport is. I love it. And I love being a part of it. And I hope that during this podcast, I can give other people the idea or give them a pathway to find this kind of fishing, tournament fishing. It takes a lot. I love to fun fish. I cannot remember the last time I got to fun fish. It's always practice, or or straight tournament fishing. I love the days where I just get to go out with my buddies and just go drink a beer and just fish. And those days are few and far between nowadays. But I love it.
I mean, if you love what you do, it's not really work, right?
It's absolutely it's not work. It's not work. It is work, but it's not work.
But it's work. It's work. And some days it's not fun work, but I get what you're saying.
But
No,
but
that's
he
really-
does
I love,
work.
I love that story. Oh yeah, you work too, right?
I get the pictures. Him on the tractor, fields of tobacco. I'm asking questions. I'm like, what? I know nothing about growing tobacco. I'm like, what do they grow cigarettes? He's like, no.
That was one of the funniest texts I've got. He was like, I was like, Anthony was like, wait, do the cigarettes just grow off the plant?
Yeah, all
No,
natural.
man. Yeah.
All natural. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, tell
American,
us a little bit
American
about-
spirits.
Tell us a little bit about a day in the life, though, like outside of fishing. Like, if you don't mind, if we jump into that for just a second, take a little sidestep into it. And what's your...
So 3 years ago, Carolyn, she asked me, she's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to fish. And she was like, all right, well, let's see if we can figure out a way that you can fish for a living. And I was like, there's no way I can just fish for a living. I've been working on, I raised a family, worked 2-3 jobs for 20 something years. I'm getting right at 50 years old, and Carol's got a farm. She's like, why don't you move out to the farm and you help take care of the farm and just fish for a living. Let's take a risk. And so we did, and we took a risk, and I do take care of the farm. I get out here and now I don't literally, I'm not the one out here growing the tobacco. We do this is a 90-acre farm. We lease out enough of the farm to pay the taxes on the farm. So the other farmers out
That's
here,
smart.
Mr. Jones and these guys, they 1 year it'll be sweet potatoes, 1 year it'll be watermelons, this year's tobacco, soybeans, that kind of stuff. It's a great life. I still have to sit out here. I do have about 10 acres that I work. That's right now it's all corn and sunflower, and the sunflower, of course, is for dove hunting, and the corn is for deer, and it's a great life. So it doesn't put me on I don't have to clock in. I don't have a boss. So if I need to take off for a week and drive to Plattsburgh, upstate New York, and fish Champlain, or if I need to, jump in the van and drive all the way to southern part of Florida to fish Okeechobee, I get to do that, and so I get to fish these big tournaments. Now, it does come, the money part does come in, and that's probably a great thing to talk about. Is without the wonderful sponsors that I have, there's no way in this world that I could ever live this life. My sponsors are absolutely fantastic. And so people that want to get into fishing, like the younger kids, like some of these college kids and stuff, you see them, they've got a $100,000 truck and $100,000 boat behind them. And of course their parents paid for it, and they'll fish for 4 or 5 years, and 9-10 years down the road, they'll be out of it. And they'll be the ones that stick around. But everybody wants Bass Pro Shop or Mid Coda or Garmin or somebody to, pick them up to be their sponsor. I'm telling you, that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. The fishing money is, listen to any of Zaldane's podcasts and stuff about and his wife. They're if you want to get into fishing and learning sponsorships, listen to Chris Zaldane's podcast. What is it? The Bilge? Man, what a great podcast. They talk about all this. You've got to think outside the box. You've got to look for companies that don't necessarily need you as much as you need them. And that might not make a lot of sense, like with Over the Falls, my two biggest sponsors, the Roger Strickland Farm and Over the Falls, they don't care if I get out here and make YouTube videos and reels and shorts and all that stuff. Um, they 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 like following the story. They like that I'm living my dream, and that's kind of the pitch I sell. I'm just living my dream, and for some of these companies, a tax write-off is a good thing for them, and a good tax write-off is advertisement. And how can you advertise? The side of my camper, the side of my boat, and that's a great advertisement piece for them, because as much as I'm fishing, I spend a lot of time on the road, and people see you driving up and down the road. That's great advertisement. But getting back to day in the life, I get up like everybody else. I get out here and I bush hog. I might go through the field and do some plowing. I cut a lot of grass. I talked to Jesse today. I had to shut the tractor down. I'm sitting out here in the I'm sitting out here in the tractor plowing when I talked to him while he was at the airport. And you know what? When it comes to having a job, sitting on a tractor all day is pretty much a clutch job. I mean, it might not be for everybody, but I'm just an old country boy, and to me, I'm living my best life right now. I love it. I work on the farm during the week, and if I need to pack up, I mean, if I want to go fishing tomorrow, I pack up and go fishing tomorrow. I love it.
I'm not going to disagree with you. That does kind of sound like the life. I love it. No, that's great. And so talking about somebody, that is maybe a little less, they're less experienced. They're trying to find their feet. They're trying to get into, break into tournament angling at a higher level, right? Maybe they've done some local stuff and they've been successful there. Do you have just a quick word of advice for anybody that's trying to plan out their roadmap of how to get there? Is there anything that you would advise them to do, steps to take?
I'll tell you what was best for me. And this might sound crazy, but I did a year's worth of being a marshal. You guys know what that is? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're on a professional's boat, and you're the marshal. You're weighing their fish, reporting back to like Dave Mercer or whoever it is that you're reporting back to. You're running the live, and to sit on a professional's boat and watch them treat fishing like your 9-to-5 job is amazing. They're not in a hurry. They don't get freaked out because they lose a fish. I learned so much from, I've been on some great people's boat. I've been on John Canada's boat. I've been on Josh Butler's boat. I've been on Skeet Reese's boat. When these guys have things that go wrong, they don't freak out. It is their job, and they just carry on throughout the job. If they need to stop and sit down and eat a sandwich, hey, time out. Take a break, clock out, eat a sandwich, and go back to fishing. And I was like, wait a second, did you really just stop fishing in the middle of a tournament for $100,000 just to grab a bite to eat? Because me, I don't pee all day, I don't eat all day, I don't even drink water. I'm just fishing. And I watch these guys, and so if you can look into something like being a marshal on a boat and watching how these guys act, how they react to different situations, good or bad, weather or whatever it is, it's irreplaceable. It's you can't replace the kind of experience you can get from that. But as far as getting into tournament fishing beyond your weekend tournaments, Major League Fishing and their bass or their Phoenix Fishing League on the weekends. That's, if you don't have a boat, that's a great way to do it. And even if you do have a boat, it's the tournament entry fees are not that much to be a boater, and that's a great way to get to walk up and see. You see the MLF trailer and the weigh-in, and it's all broadcasted live online, and you kind of get that, and then they blast you off. That's a great way to get a feel for it and to see if that's really what you want to do. And if it is, then you start looking for other avenues, which kind of is what I'm doing now. I'm like, Carol asked me about, I think it was 2, maybe 3 years ago. She's like, what is your goal? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. What is my goal? Do I want to be the
I'm kind of here. I fish for a living. That's kind of the...
Yeah, I was like, well, I mean, that's kind of the way I was. I was like, I get to do this. I'm like, I've kind of reached my goal. She was like, no, really. What is your goal? And she asked me 2 questions. She asked me, what is your goal? And how will you know if you've made it? And the first question is, what is your goal? I thought that was hard. And I was like, okay, my goal is to win the Bassmaster Classic. And she wrote that down on a piece of paper. I was like, well, you can scratch that out because I'll never win a Bassmaster Classic. And she said, well, why not? I was like, well, because I'm just me. I just fish local tournaments. I'm just a little guy. I don't, I'm past the prime. I got all these young kids that are fishing. They've got more money in their boats, more money in their electronics. They got better sponsors. And she was like, well, why can't you win a Bassmaster Classic? I was like, well, one, I got to get there. And I got to looking into it. And there's actually ways for people like us to get to the Bassmaster Classic. And I really didn't realize that you could do that. And there are, just like getting to the All-American in MLF. And so that's kind of my goal right now. I'm working my way. I'm kind of transitioning over from MLF into some of these bass qualifiers, and to try to get to the. I mean, that's my ultimate goal. I was like, maybe it's not so obtainable after all. Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of luck, but I mean, if you're a NASCAR driver and you want to win the Daytona 500. You're gonna have a little bit of luck too. Your tire's gonna have your tire's gonna have to last. The guy in front of you can't wreck. Your engine's gotta last, and you're just gonna have to be one of those days. But you know what? Maybe one day I'll have one of those days, and I ain't giving up on it. So you know what? Maybe I will have. Maybe I can get there. I might not win a Bassmaster Classic, but maybe I could get there. Now that leads me to my second question that she asked me. How do you know when you've made it? And I want everybody listening to this to think about it. Whether it's fishing, your family, your life, how do you know when you've made it? I thought that when she first asked me, I was like, oh yeah, wait a second. I was like, yeah, if I got a fishing rod with my name on it, I've made it. If I've got a shoe with my name on it as a skateboarder, I've made it. Then I thought about it and I was like, wait. That's not really making it. So what? And to this day, I've never been able to answer that question. How will I know when I made it? I don't know, but I'm hoping if I ever do make it, I'll be able to answer that question. But to this day, I still can't answer that question. I don't know how I'll know when I make it. Does Bill Dance or KBD or Gerald Swindell, do they know that they've made it? I don't know. That's a question you have to answer for yourself. But I'll tell you what, that's one of the greatest questions that was ever asked of me when I started this journey. How will you know when you've made it? And I'm still trying to answer it today because I don't know. I just know that I live every day. I try to do my best. I research and I try to always be prepared. And I promise you, I'll do my best at everything I can do. This is the first podcast I've ever been on. I want to do the best I can do being here. What do? I get up. I think about it. I take notes. I think about what I'm going to do. I talk to everybody, and I try to be prepared. And I maybe one day, somebody look back and be like, man, Jon Mitchell, he was good. I remember that day I was on his boat and I caught this fish, and and he was my boater and I was a co-angler. Maybe that's when I'll know I've made it, when I do something for somebody else. So I don't know.
That's what I was gonna say, John. Just from knowing you, I feel like for you, making it is gonna be like helping other people and being of service, more than like being on a shoe or on a fishing rod. When I met you, it was through Take a Warrior Fishing. You gave me all types of advice and tips on what baits would work to donate to them, and you go and you're a boater for them. Like you were saying about being a guide to your co-angler. It's more important to you to get out there and have a good day with your co-angler than winning the actual tournament, which obviously your goal is to win, but
Brother,
you're just a giving person. You're
I've already won. I'll tell you right now, if you're in this business to make a living, you're in the wrong business, because you ain't gonna make a bunch of money. And I'll tell you right now, when I step out of that truck and I put my foot on that boat, I already won, because I'm doing what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's the same for all three of us. Like, if you're in this for the money, you're gonna fail.
Yeah. 100%.
Because very few companies get to the point where they're super successful and make a ton of profit. Obviously, it's a goal for all of us.
Yeah.
We'd like to be like a company that makes awesome baits and retire one day off of it. But if that's your going into it, you're kind of screwed, because it's not a great motive. I feel like that's not your motive as a tournament angler or as a person in general. You're just very supportive of the fishing community and your sponsors and your co-anglers and just other veterans, other military people. I think you've already made it.
Well, again, like I said, as soon as I step out of that truck at 4:00 in the morning, I already feel like I've won the day. Now, to catch 5 green fish and to walk across that stage and get a check, that's just icing on the cake, to be honest. I would like to win more tournaments and to help my sponsors along, but I don't need that. I'm super lucky that, and when I talk with my sponsors, I'll tell them straight up, I'm not a YouTube person. I'm not gonna sit out here and make reels and podcasts and or not podcasts, but reels and shorts.
So what are you trying to say, John? What's wrong with that?
No.
I'm joking.
I talked about podcasts years ago before they got popular, and I was like, I thought that was the greatest thing ever. But I told my sponsors, I was like, I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna be able to sit down weekly and make videos about it. And my sponsors understood that. So I'm forthcoming with my sponsors, and they understand that. I would love to make a video for cashing rods, and just sit down and talk about their element rods. One of the best, cheapest American-made rods. Now, I shouldn't say cheapest. Most affordable American-made rods on the market that are made right here in North Carolina. I have. I think I've got maybe 4 of those element rods that stay on my boat, and 3 of them are all-purpose rods. In the last podcast, you guys were talking about, if you had to take one rod with you, what would it be? Man, I'll tell you, mine would be an all-purpose Cash and Element medium heavy fast rod. I can throw everything on my boat with one of those rods. I can throw. Matter of fact, I've got one set up right here with braid, one set up with fluorocarbon, and one set up with mono. And I can just switch between them, and I can literally take any one of those and throw anything in my arsenal and feel confident and catch fish with them.
Well,
That's
you
awesome.
got me sold. I need to get one.
I love it. And hey,
What?
I fish what you want to. They take really good care of me. I'm not a casting pro. Those guys they've got their pros out there, but I will run because I believe in their product. I have cashing on my boat. I have cashing on my jersey. I will not put anything on my boat or my jersey that I do not believe in. And you know that brings me to another thing. We were sitting in the Okeechobee campground at Roland Martin campground, and we were sitting around the campfire that I had at the van, in the camper van, and this guy's like, "You got that nice wrap boat, and all that." And he was like, "And you got these sponsors, but how many of them actually write a check?" And me and Carol kind of looked at each other, and we smiled, and I was like, 90% of them. I was like, and the guy was like, he was kind of shocked because you get these young kids and even some of these guys on the elite tournaments and stuff. I mean, they've got sponsors and stuff, but they don't always write them a check. My sponsors, that's one thing that's different, and that's what allows me to do what I do. My sponsors actually write me a check, and that's another thing that I'm really, really fortunate about. And the funny thing is, they're not fishing sponsors, and that's what people don't understand. Like, everybody wants to have a Berkeley sponsor or a Yamamoto sponsor and stuff. No, Gary's got a lot going on in his life. He ain't really worried about Jon Mitchell and sending Jon Mitchell any money. He might give me some baits or something, but that ain't gonna pay them $2,000, $4,000 entry fees. So anybody that really wants to get into this, you got to think outside of fishing. And it's funny because my biggest sponsors that keep me on the water have absolutely nothing to do with fishing. It's Over the Falls. Make the best wings you'll ever eat. Some of the best food you'll ever eat.
I was going to ask. That was one of my questions.
Hey,
that was one of my questions. What's your favorite sauce?
Dude, they got this
Bass juice, bass attractant.
Hey, the bass juice. Hey, I'll tell you what.
That's
John,
a sponsor also.
You look on my boat and my shirt. I will carry John and bass juice till I die or I quit fishing, and I'll have to die to quit fishing. John will always the bass juice will always be on my boat, and I'll tell you what. That goes back to Zach's Finds Fish. That dude has he might have given me a couple of bottles here and there. I paid for every bottle I've ever got from him, and I give a bottle away to every person that gets on my boat. Because I believe in him, I believe in his product, and he's a small business, and I want to see him succeed. Just like all you guys. I want to see y'all succeed. I want to see John succeed. He's one of the nicest people you will ever meet. And the fact that Anthony actually decided to try it, I was like, man, go with your bad self.
All right, you need to get Over the Falls and the bass juice together to do a collab wing. Because that stuff was delicious.
Yeah.
Brother, this is kind of a hoity-toity old Wake Forest area. I'm not sure that I can get people in Wake Forest to put the bass juice on their wings.
You never know until you try, John. You never know until you try.
Now we look into something like Hooters. Maybe this would be a good thing. We get Hooters on. We get Hooters on board. We'll put the Hooters boat on here, and we'll get Hooters in the bass juice. And
John,
you get some.
Is
you
he
get
a
some
chef?
Wait, what's that?
Is he a chef? Is he a chef, or was he ever a chef?
I don't know what Greg's background is, in his culinary background is with his food, but I tell you what, anybody that comes to town, like Anthony, I've talked to Anthony. We talk all the time. They're like, and when he comes to town, I promise you, one of the first places I'm gonna take him is gonna be to Wake Forest, and we're gonna go get some. We're gonna go get some wings or
No,
some.
John from the Bass Juice.
Oh my gosh, no! He's just a fisherman. I'm telling you what, the dude's got a niche for it. He has crawfish. His wife must absolutely hate it because he grinds up crawfish in the blender and puts it in the bass juice. His wife, he might even by now he might even be divorced.
That's why it tastes so good.
Dude, I had the garlic.
Like it so much.
I had the garlic. Thank God I didn't have the crawfish. The garlic was good.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm always supposed to.
Oh man, I hope he eats the crawfish.
Hey, look, it doesn't. Look, I'm in the bullshit. It don't take me long to get to it. There's garlic and crawfish.
Eat it.
And
Eat it.
Nope. That's for Anthony. Not on my best. Not on my worst day.
I was gonna say, I know you said you're not gonna get the hoity-toity people to put bass juice on their wings, but all you got to do is point them to our podcast. We are a very high-class, highbrow, civilized,
Yeah, dude, we're official.
media outlet. We're very professional, and you can take us at our word, or Anthony at his word, that if it's delicious, then it's delicious. All right.
Hey,
You can take us anywhere, and you're in
there's
good
still an
shape.
opportunity. I think there's
We
an
can make it
opportunity for bass juice in the high-end dining experience.
We'll put on the glasses and we'll make it official. I put that shit on everything.
Love it. I love it. Well, we have a few more questions for John, but speaking of sponsors, I think we have a new sponsor this week, right, Anthony?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Is it a good one? All right. Well, I guess, despite my better judgment, it's time for a word from our sponsor.
Hey, darling, tired of those bass ignoring your bait? Can't get a nibble no matter how hard you wiggle your worm? Well, I whipped up a fresh batch of my toe cheese chum, harvested straight from my orthopedic slippers after a 3-day catfish derby. Introducing Grandma Rosie's toe cheese chum, a scent that lingers and offends. Just a dabble, do ya? Rub it on a lure or under your buddy's seat. Works either way.
That is quite possibly the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my adult life, or my entire life in general.
I'm not even.
Anthony, remind me when we're done recording. Let's talk through our agreement for you to pick to work with the sponsors.
I'll say she's one of our biggest sponsors. Grandma loves shelling out cash, dude.
And I tattooed her.
And he tattooed her. Yep, you see those tattoos on there?
Okay.
Yeah. Me and Trev,
All right, well,
me
maybe
and
I'll
Trev
reconsider.
love Grandma Rosie.
She's all
I
right.
probably still won't try her products just out of
That's good.
sheer
It's because you hate
horror,
catching
but
fish.
Apparently, that's just how I live my life. Anyway, moving on. Back to our guest.
Thank you, Grandma
John, I'm
Rosie.
sorry you had to see that. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sorry you had to
I don't
see
know
that.
how I can follow that.
Let's all just try to clear that mental image from our minds, and we'll move forward with a couple more questions for John. Now, John, these are going to be a little more, since the three of us are bait makers, they're going to be a little more bait oriented. Not necessarily the construction and design, but just kind of your take on a few things.
Okay.
And the first thing I want to know is, if you had to rate your favorite, or not even necessarily your favorite, but just the best artificial lure of all times. I throw artificial in there because we all know people who throw minnows and earthworms catch more fish than anybody else. But the favorite artificial lure of all time, what would it be?
Easy. Cinco.
Cinco?
You're straight
Stick bait?
You're straight plastic worm. You put me on a desert island with water within walking distance, I'm gonna catch fish on a stick every time. Every single time.
I like it.
It's just
I was
what
wrong.
You can. I don't care if it's what are these colors? The bubble gum and the what's that color? That's that bright orange color. Methylatum. Now bro, I don't care what color it is. They all catch fish. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. Methylatum.
I agree. I fish them
I don't
top
care if it's
water.
pronounced another way. I'm going to pronounce it like that.
Dilate them.
I like it.
What's second?
And see, Anthony
Shush. Shush.
you were gonna say something
What's
else.
second?
A jig, a brown jig,
Your second.
brown jig. All day long. All day
I
long.
guess I was wrong.
He swore up and down that you were going to say Division 110.
On the boat.
You got it tied on, right?
Oh, I don't care. I mean, people will say, I'm not going to throw a jerk bait unless it's this month, this temperature, that. Brother, you put me around a school of fish, I'll throw a Vision 110 in front of them, and I'll jerk it, and I will come up with fish. I never not have a jerk bait on my boat. Sitting on deck, ready to go. Always, always.
I feel better.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, that was gonna be. If you asked me my third, that was it. I mean, I'm a.
Oh, we were almost there, Anthony. We were this close.
I'm a chatterbait fisherman. Look, it's sitting on the boat. Always sits on the boat. I fish.
Oh, I love a
chatterbaits.
good chatterbait.
I fish stick worms. I fish plastics. My favorite way to catch fish. I love cranking. I tell you what, I love cranking DT6s, DT8s, catching fish like that. Top water, walking baits, poppers. Everybody loves a good top water blow up. I mean, you can't call yourself a fisherman if you don't like a top water blow up. That's just the way it is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
There's nothing like it.
I mean, when they come up and they slurp, they don't bust the water, but when they inhale the water and it looks like you flush the toilet and it just circles down into their mouth, and that's, you got a good one. I love it.
Do you like a buzzbait?
Nope, he doesn't.
Nope. I don't keep a buzzbait on that. It's just one of those baits that works well coming through cover for me, and it's got a frog on the back of it. And I know this one, I don't know if you can see it. This is actually a True South Custom double bladed.
Oh yeah, it's a double.
It's mini. I still have a kicking frog on the back of it, and it's sitting on braid, and I can rip it through some heavy cover, grass, lily pads, rip it off of them, and you get those blades spinning, and they crush it. Man, I love it.
That's what I was doing the other night.
I love it.
The hydrilla was growing out of the water, and all I could throw was a buzzbait because anything with treble hooks was getting caught.
No, sir.
Buzzbait was killing it.
You got that hydrilla? So let's go back to that stick bait. And not only we're going to go stick bait, we're going to go a wacky rig with a weedless hook on it and just let it fall through that hydrilla. They'll come find it.
Yeah, but
I'm
a cranker like you. I'm a cranker. I got to keep moving.
Yeah, I get like that too. I tell you, lately I've been going to because of my back, and I'm 51 now. So I've been going to I guess it's called rehab. I'm going to they work with me on exercises to like. It's funny, but they structure my exercises towards fishing, towards the way I cast, the way I sidearm, the way I skip, and they laugh about it. They're like, "You're the only fisherman we've got in here that we work on exercises for," and they're like, "So what are your movements?" And I'm like, all right, so what are we around docks? I'm skipping this jig. I'm skipping this worm up under these docks. So I'm side arming. I was like, I'm making a long cast with this chatterbait. I'm over the shoulder. Oh, my shoulder. They're like, we're gonna work on that shoulder. I'm like, let's go.
Like, well, there's your problem.
Yep.
Doesn't take a doctor to figure that out, right?
Nope.
So let me ask you another question that's bait related before we move on. Do you feel like there is a bait that doesn't exist that should? Is there something out there that you've always thought of that would work?
Yep, and we're not
in a.
Yeah. I do.
You're in the right place, by the way. You're in the right place. Maybe this will turn into a challenge.
No, Anthony, I see he's got his pen and paper ready, and I'm actually literally not going to talk about this, except with Anthony later on. And this is going to seem crazy.
Oh, okay. No fair.
Because again, I'm 50 and my doctor's been making me take this medicine and stuff. So they put me on this, my blood pressure's been a little bit high. And so they had me on this blood pressure medicine, and I just didn't like the way it feels. So I quit taking it, right? I had the craziest dreams coming off of this stuff. Brother, I had this dream about fishing. And I'm going to tell you, this bait is a mixture between a swim bait and like an egg rig, Carolina, a rig, what do y'all call them, Alabama rig or whatever. Mm-hmm. Only it's like a micro version. And I'm gonna draw Anthony a picture, and we're going to work on it. It's going to take somebody that knows how to like bend wires and do stuff. There is a bait that exists, and you need to talk to like a Japanese person about this because they keep their mess secret. They don't talk about anything. Yeah, and like even when they're filming and they're on the boat, whether it be MLF or Bassmaster, they're like, don't get the camera off. I use my secret bait.
They get knocked off quick.
Hey, I use a lot of Japanese line, Japanese hooks and
Yozuri.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's good stuff. I think a bucket list thing would be to go over to Japan. I didn't even know they had bass in Japan. I mean, they're surrounded by their island. They're surrounded by water. But wait, where the hell
and
the
they're
bass
invasive.
Come from? Yeah. Well, hey, look at
the Yakuza.
Look at I hate fishing or
seriously,
whatever the Instagram account is. Bass fishing sucks. I mean, this dude's like, this dude is like, bass are invasive. Eat them. I love.
Hey,
that
you
account.
were on there. You were on there.
I love that account. I really do.
Okay, well, you can keep your secrets.
There are baits that exist,
fishermen.
and we haven't seen them yet. And there's people like me
I'll
out
make
there
it.
that have bad dreams, and they come to life.
Yeah, I was trying to get some, future Freak Baits product ideas out of you, but no, Anthony gets all the good stuff.
I got it right here.
It's fine. I understand.
Hey,
Swim bait,
I
a
understand.
rig.
You've known him longer.
You've
known him longer.
Hey, just like with my sponsors, I'm a businessman.
That's fair. I can't complain about
whoever can come up with the most money.
I can't. I love me some capitalism. I got no problem with it. That's fine. I understand. I'll just have to.
I am definitely a capitalist.
I will say, I'm just gonna chime in quick. As far as I know, I'm probably your smallest sponsor, but just how you are not worried about like being sponsored by Berkeley or Garmin and all that. You want to grow with your sponsors,
Absolutely.
And to me, that was like, just knowing you as a person was enough, but also that we're growing together. A lot of people miss that mark. They feel like they have a couple hundred followers, they want to get a sponsor, and, they're going to really promote them. You're probably not.
Do you
But
know how
we're
many
all
fish
growing.
I've caught on that square bill that you painted? That I was literally given as a gift for Warriors fishing
For the
I have
tournament?
I have caught a ton of fish on that bait.
Right.
And and I'll sit on the water and I'll catch I'll snag I'll go through a school of bait, right? And I'll snag a bait fish. I'll instantly take a picture of it, and the first thing I do is send it to Anthony. I said, Anthony, I want you to paint this bait, and he's like, I'll work on it. And
I'll never get it done. But
get out and show me pictures of it and never send it to me.
yep.
I'm just kidding.
But no, you're not. That's the truth. But I mean, honestly, the Instagram posts and all that mean nothing to me. Like, I don't know. I feel like the community aspect and the fact that you're out there doing your thing and taking veterans fishing, and you know, I didn't even know about the co-anglers and like you being so about like, you know, showing them a good day and all that. Like, it's because I like you as a person, not because I expect you to make a YouTube video fishing with my bait. I literally don't care. I work a full-time job, and that's what pays my bills. This to me is fun, you know?
It should be fun.
Like, eventually, hopefully, it makes me some money, but starting off, we're all growing together. And those connections, like, you know, we all have, me, other bait makers, now with this podcast, me and you, it means the world to me. And I don't know, people need to approach it that way as a human, you know?
Look how this all started, especially with me and Anthony. Anthony's doing his thing with Warriors fishing. I'm doing my thing with Warriors fishing. And they say, Anthony reaches out and is like, hey, does anybody, like, can you give me any ideas of, like, what colors to paint these baits that would work for y'all's area in North Carolina? So I just reached out to Anthony. I was like, hey, look, I laid out 4 or 5 crankbaits, and I was like, look, these colors work really well in this area. And ever since then, like, I think since that day, and I don't even know how long it's been, Anthony and I probably talk sometimes every day of the week. We talk all the time now. Like this kind of community of like, I can easily say I've made a lifelong friend with Anthony. Anthony's and his family, his wife and his new kid, they're invited to come out to the farm anytime they come to North Carolina. We'll host them, put them up. And that's just what this community brings. You meet people that they aren't just your friends. They're like lifelong friends. Mm-hmm. I've never even met Anthony in person.
No.
I've never met Anthony in person. And I can tell you right now that I will call him a friend probably forever. I mean, like a lifelong friend.
Yeah.
And all we've ever talked about was,
that's how this community.
All we've ever talked about is fishing.
Yep.
Yeah. That's just kind of how it's weird to see it, because you don't see it in a lot of other like hobby / interest communities where like I've never met Trevor or Anthony in person. Never once. We're across the country from each other. They're a little closer to each other than they are like to me, but we talk pretty much daily. We did before I mean, at least Anthony and I talked pretty much daily before we even thought about starting a podcast. And then one day I was like, hey, what do you think about doing a podcast? And let's invite, Trevor from Peak Baits. And he was like, yeah, I'll just ask if he wants to do it. And since then we've been in constant contact with each other. And I consider these guys friends. I don't know if they feel the same way about me, but I consider them friends. And, they're welcome to come fish with me anytime. And no, it's good to hear you say that, because it's not something you find everywhere, right? There are a lot of just very toxic groups out there that are, all circled around a specific interest or hobby, and they just tear each other down constantly. And there's no point in that. I don't feel like that's not productive for anybody. But if we all get better, then yeah.
It is not, and I will tell you, that's the one thing. That's one of the biggest turnoffs with tournament fishing. It is not like this tournament fishing. It can be cutthroat. there are pirates out there, and I've had my run-ins with them. And when it comes to these college and high school kids, I've had my fair share of run-ins with them. But I can tell you, for every one of these kids that get information that I know that they're giving information from people they shouldn't be getting it from illegally in some of these big tournaments, I can tell you right now, there are kids out there like Jack Daniels, Harrison McCall, Hunter. These kids they're like, when I first met most of these kids, they're early 19, 20, early 20s. If our sport has to rely on these kids that I'm talking about, we're in good hands because they are good kids. And I'll tell you, with this kid, Harris McCall, I met this kid I was a co-angler, fishing MLF, BFLs. And I fished off the back of this kid's boat. This kid at the time was probably 19, 20 years old. And when I got off the boat with this kid, the first thing I did was go find his dad. And I told him, I said, I'll tell you what, sir, you've done a damn good job raising a son, because I would be proud to call this kid my son. And he's easily young enough. I mean, my oldest son is 22, getting ready to turn 23. This kid's young enough to be my son. And I had one of the best days fishing with this kid, because he was so polite and so nice and so well-mannered, and it showed in his fishing. And I'll tell you what, he's a damn good fisherman too. And that's why he's so good, is because of the way he was brought up. And I think his dad was shocked when I walked up to him. I was like, I got something to say about your boy. I was like, you did.
Oh, do you now?
You did a good job, Dad. You raised a good son, and you should be proud of what you've done. And I tell you, as like, nobody's ever done that to me. But if somebody walked up to me and said, "Hey, you did a good job as a dad," we talked about it. How do you know you made it? If somebody walked up to me and told me that I raised a good boy, I'll know I made it as a father. You know what I mean? And I know Anthony's a young dad, and I don't know if you guys got how old your kids are and stuff, but I'm gonna tell you, as I've got an 18, 20, and a 22-year-old, and being a dad it doesn't come natural. You're gonna mess up a lot. You're gonna mess up a lot, and but one of the best things I ever did was become a dad, and I hope that one day somebody looks back and says, young man, your daddy did a good job raising you, because you're a good guy. And and that's where, that's where it is with fishing. And these young kids, they get a lot of flack, especially with this forward facing sonar and stuff. A lot of people don't like these young kids, and I'm one of them. I mean, don't get me wrong. Get ready with your real bleeper. These kids with $120,000 truck and $120,000 boat, and they're sitting beside me in my $20,000 truck and my $20,000 boat, and they're out fishing me because their parents bought them spots. I did the same thing as a dad. I made sure that my son had the best coaches, went to the best training sessions, every extra thing he could do for soccer. I made sure matter of fact, if I would have taken the money that I spent on soccer and I put it aside, I could have paid for college, but I didn't. And I put it into soccer. And some of these dads are putting it into fishing for their kids. Now, these kids might not, 10 years from now, they might not, they'll drop off, but the ones that are into it, they're going to be around. And I'm going to tell you what, they're going to be a force to reckon with, because they're going to be your next, Bill Dances, your next Ott Defoe's. He's a young guy. I consider Ott a young kid and stuff. But they're going to be your next Gerald Swindells, and not calling Gerald Swindell old either, but he's my
I won't
age.
tell him.
He's my age. I mean, I talked to him about that when I got to see him. But these are going to be your next. These are the kids that are going to carry fishing on in our lifetime, and I think fishing's in a good place. It's like everybody complain about the video gaming kids, but these kids are they're just working with what they've got. I mean, I grew up on Atari 64 and a Commodore. Yeah, of course, I've only got one forward-facing sonar. These kids grew up with iPhones. They've got Live Scope, Res, Humminbird, Garmin, and they're good at it. Hey, if you want to be competitive, you better keep up or get out of the way because you're gonna get run over. And I'm too competitive.
Well, I look at it kind of like
I'm too competitive. I'm not getting out of the way. I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna get right there toe to toe with you.
I love it. But I look at it as kind of like every other sport. It's like every other sport. If you took somebody that was, the peak number one top football player in 1955 and put him up against the peak number one football player today, there wouldn't.
Brother, you could take.
It's just evolved. The sport has evolved. The training has evolved. Everything.
Brother, you could take the 100th pick draft and put him up against the number one from back then, and they're like, "Wait, you just ran a 40 in what?"
Exactly. Like everything evolves, and I think that's part of it. Which I don't tournament fish. I've never even fished a local derb or anything like that because I'm just not good enough at it to even try. But anyway, I guess I did Anthony's tournament and caught one fish.
Hey.
But but I guess I can say I've never been skunked in a tournament. I can say that.
There you go. You didn't zero.
That's saying something.
Where was I going with that? Anyway,
just wrap it up now.
Just wrap it up now. But no, nonetheless, the sport evolves, and I think that forward-facing sonar is it's a part of fishing now, and it's part of like it or not. You don't have to be a fan of it, but it's not going away anytime soon. And I know they're putting a little more regulation on it, or some places are trying to.
It's not going away.
Are trying to, but
it's not going away. It's
not going away.
No. And actually, I looked into. We talked about. Caroline talked about my future, where I'm going. I don't know if I can work it into my schedule, and especially with the entry fees and everything else. But I would love to have been a part of the National Professional Fishing League this year. I think that would have been great to actually sit there and say, "Hey, I got to fish with no electronics or no sonar. However many graphs they did." I think that was fantastic. And I've got a good friend, that Brad Staley that fishes that, and he's doing really well. And Gerald Swindell fished it this year, and he's still doing a Bassmaster, and I think that's great that there's other avenues. But but you cannot stop technology. You're just not going to.
No. So you might as well lean into it, right?
Absolutely.
Like, try to figure it out yourself.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's like don't gain
So
the advantage yourself. But
I have a question. For MLF, do you have to qualify to get into it?
Not for what I'm doing. So, for BFLs, no, you don't have to qualify. For Toyota, you do not have to qualify. Last year, I was invited to what used to be the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals, and I did get an invitation to the Invitationals, and I'm sure a lot of other people did too. And it really comes down to the $4,500 per tournament that you got to do. And I thought about it, and I was like, wait, I could use, the $4,000 per tournament, but where am I going to go? It's I want to make it to the All-American in my lifetime, and that would be a great way to make it to the All-American. Or I can take this money and I could do something that I never thought would be possible, and that would be do these federation tournaments and qualifiers in these opens and make it to a Bass Masters one, a Bass Master one time. And I watched my buddy Josh Butler do it, and damned if he didn't win one. He just won one, and he was at the Bassmaster Classic, and I'm like, I called him and I was like, you know, and he had his one of his days, he had a bad day, and I texted him. I was like, dude, I don't care if you don't catch one fish the whole time. I could not be more proud of saying that I know somebody that their dreams were fulfilled and got to go to a Bassmaster Classic. I mean, tell that to your grandkids. Grandpa, what'd you do? I tell you what, I wasn't good, but I made it to the show. And I say that every time. So, excuse me. So, my biggest fear is not getting to walk across stage with my fish and thank my sponsors. And you can ask anybody that's ever been on a boat with me. When I catch my first keeper fish, I do a little jig dance and I say, I'm going to the show. I'm going to the show because I don't care if I'm walking across that stage with one fish and get made fun of. I will walk across that stage with that one fish and be as proud as the dude that walks across with the winning bag. I can promise you that because that's what I'm there for. I'm there for a good time. And I want to walk across that stage. And I want to thank my family. I want to thank God. I want to thank my mom. I want to thank my girlfriend. I want to thank my kids. And I want to thank my sponsors. And hell, even one time I got to thank Anthony. I took my cowboy hat off. I put my lazy bait hat on. I was like, Anthony.
Twice.
Did I?
Twice you did it.
I put a lazy bait hat on. I was like, I just, I love doing that. I love getting to walk across the stage and thank my friends and family and thanking God for the life that I get to live and having fun. Because I do.
Dude, when you do that, I'm laying in bed and I'm like, look at what Jon did. And I'm showing my wife and I'm just like completely ecstatic, like mind blowing to me. I don't know. It's crazy. It means the world to us.
Hey, I love doing it. I love being a part of startup companies, and I was there when Bass started, and they're like, and he's such a great guy. I believe in it. I call him a friend, and I want nothing more than for all of you guys to succeed. I want everybody to walk in Bass Pro Shop and be like, hey, there's a lazy base. There's a freak, a freak bait fishing. There's there's one of Jesse's baits. There's one of Trevor's baits. There's one of Anthony's baits. And then people be like, man, I used to watch them on YouTube. I think that's cool.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. And I'd love to see nothing more than you get to the Classic.
Hey,
brother.
Yeah.
I want
Let's
that for
go.
you now that I know that's a yeah. Let's get you there, 100%. No, that's great, and I think you've shared a lot of wisdom today, and I think that there's going to be a lot of our viewers that no matter what you're trying to accomplish, they're going to find value in the stuff that you had to share with us today. So I can't tell you how much we all appreciate it, and I think that I think this is going to be a popular episode because there's a lot of good stuff in it, and I think that you're gonna.
I hope so.
Jesse,
have to come back and talk with us.
Jesse, I'll tell you one thing, and you guys can y'all can have me on anytime. If you can't find somebody, you shouldn't have any problem. But if you can have me on anytime. But if anybody wants to reach out and just some advice for trying to get sponsorships, I'm not really good at it. But Carol is my girlfriend and one of my biggest sponsors, and she believes in me so much. She's really good at this. And I will help anybody else. And if you want me to help you word a letter to a sponsor or anything like that, I'll do the best I can do to help you out. Because nothing makes me more excited than to sit in the lineup, get ready to go fishing, and see somebody that's just like me that got started and sitting out on the water, getting ready to go fish for the first time. Because when I was so nervous, I could have thrown up off the side of my boat the first time I did it. And it is scary. It's nerve wracking. And, but I tell you, the community took care of me. Mark Cannon and West House and the guys sitting out in the water, Billy and these guys, they they took great care of me. They were like, hey, this is his first time. Let's break him in. Let's, and they took care of me. They told me what to do and not to be nervous and just go fish.
That's awesome. Well, if Carol's good at finding sponsors, better than Grandma's toe cheese, whatever, then she can have Anthony's job. But
if I wasn't taken, I might or might not look into Grandma's Instagram account and hit her up.
To each their own. No judgment here. Not much anyway. That's why you were looking so close.
I get them white New Balances going. Get me a Corvette, a red Corvette, and them white tube socks. I don't know how she can say no.
He's like, hey, girl, I like that lipstick.
Oh, no. All right. We need to wrap this up before it goes all completely off the rails. But before we do, John, why don't you tell people, I know you don't do a lot of YouTube or social media stuff, but if people do want to find you or follow you or reach out for advice, where's the best place to do that?
I'm on Instagram, Jon Mitchell Fishing, Facebook, Jon Mitchell Fishing. My personal is just John Paul Mitchell and Facebook, and I accept friend requests and stuff. It took me a long time to Carol was like, John, you can't be political and you can't do this. I'm like, whoa. You're talking about I got to fish or I can't be political and get in Facebook jail? All right. Fish is on the side then. No, but I've cleaned my act up and I keep it PC now. And but yeah, my personal is John Paul Mitchell, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I really don't have any. I mean, I've got a YouTube and I've got a X, Twitter, but that I hardly ever go on. And don't even try to think about finding me at what's the tick that. What's that old ticker talker?
Ticker talk.
Ticker talker.
Man,
Tic-tac.
I've got a couple of videos on there from when my daughter was super young and making videos, and I don't get on it.
What's your YouTube? Just you and Brian?
No, it's John Paul Mitchell or Jon Mitchell or something. I got some RC cars on there for my kids racing, and I don't have any videos on Jon Mitchell Fishing, and I really need to work on it. I think that's going to be one of my goals coming up. Is I'm going to because I tell you what, I will lay in bed and watch reels until I fall asleep. I can't watch a 2-hour movie, but I can damn sure watch some reels.
Mm-hmm.
I'll fall asleep with my phone. I'm drooling. Watch some reels.
I have a question, John. I have a question, and I've been waiting. Who's a better fisherman, you or Brian?
No.
Come on, you gotta answer it. Brian's in our group chat. He invited Brian into our group chat because Brian is the master of just knowing lures.
Dude,
even though he doesn't make them, I've determined.
You can literally pick a blank up. You can sandblast a bait and hold it up, and Brian can tell you exactly which make and model it is and when they've made it. Brian's a better fisherman. Oh, he might say that I'm a better fisherman, but that dude, as long as he's got little Debbie's and some snacks on the boat, he's probably gonna outfish me. Wow. And he's a hell of a fisherman, and that's why
I hope he's watching.
That group with you. He'll watch. He's when we call each other my fishing buddy. That's my fishing partner. I didn't say buddy. That's my fishing partner. Brian's like family. Brian is my fishing partner. If I had to fish anything for money, they were like, your life's on the line. You got to pick somebody to fish with. I'm picking Brian. Because if he don't get me out of trouble, we gonna have a damn good time laughing as we go down.
Such a nice guy,
Well, here,
man.
folks.
Such a nice guy.
I met
He
that
said his
dude.
fishing buddy's the better fisherman. That's rare.
I met that dude. I was on my kayak minding my business. He was minding his business in his canoe, and somebody in the middle of Lake Raleigh was smoking the Chiba. You know, there was a skunk out there somewhere. And he looked at me and said, "Is that you?" And I looked at him and said, "No, is that you?" And dude, we have been friends ever since. Like, we're almost inseparable. Like, we laugh, we goof off, and we have a good time fishing. That's my fishing partner.
It's good to have a buddy like that.
Yeah, dude, he's my fishing partner.
I respect it.
Cool. All right. Any other questions for John before we wrap it up with our question of the week?
You never answered the sauce. Over the falls sauce.
Oh, I did. I said the garlic parmesan.
Ooh, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's
That
easy.
is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that I said it quick, but then we got into the bass juice.
The bass
Y'all wanted
juice.
the garlic and the
Bass juice.
Yeah. No, it's a garlic parm. That's it.
I'm
Now the question's
starving.
easy. Yeah, me too. That's one of my favorite
That was
things
my
to do
only
other than
question.
eat.
What about you, Trevor? You have any questions for John?
No, it's been pretty good.
Yeah. A lot of great stuff shared, so appreciate it, John. But we do have one final question for all of us that we all have to answer, and John's going to go first.
I like this segment.
And this question, yeah, it's time for our question of the week. And if you would like to leave a suggestion for question of the week, you can do that down in the comments below. If it's a good enough question, we may read it in the next episode or a future episode. But this week's question comes from Piney Fish Magnet, and he would like to know, what should your attitude be when you're headed to your spot to do some catching?
Wait,
What kind of mental state should you be
what
in?
was the name again?
What's the best?
What was the guy's name again? It broke up while you were asking.
Yeah, his Instagram handle is Piney Fish Magnet. I happen to know this fella. I've done some work with him before. He lives up in the Pines and he in New Jersey,
Hey.
and so he's a northeasterner like these other two yahoos.
Okay,
But he's a backwoods
so
northeasterner.
what's the question again about what about the attitude? What was the question again?
Yeah, what's the best attitude to like you're getting ready for a day of fishing, you're going to a spot, it may be a new spot, maybe a spot you know. What's the best mindset to be in whenever you're getting ready to go, whenever you're on your way? What do you think brings you the best results possible whenever you're in that state of mind?
All right, this is actually pretty easy. You got to be ready to fail, and I can tell you this. We were talking about my fishing partner Brian, and I didn't learn this on my own. I learned this from watching other pros and being on their boats and watching how they dealt with failure on their boat. So I pulled up to a spot. Brian and I had a bad first day. Second day, I was like, we're gonna make a run. I'm going with my gut. Pull up to a spot. I smoked like a 5.5, 6 pounder. Brian's like, hell yeah. Gets up to the boat, gone on a chatterbait. I never blinked. I set that chatterbait down, picked up a DT6, threw it right back out, caught like a 3.5. And Brian was like, dude, you never even got mad about that. And I was like, no reason to. That's fishing. You're gonna lose fish. The best thing you can do is keep a good attitude and just keep fishing. Lost my motor on the James River. Got up on that stage. Never once complained about losing my motor. What I did do was brag about Carol, my sponsors, and all of my friends that found me another lower unit, another prop, another boat, and made sure that day 2 I was going to be there. Never give up. Fishing is not going to go your way. It's how you handle it. So you've got to. Gerald Swindell is, Lulu is probably the best person to ask that question, because Gerald Swindell comes off the water and he's pissed off. She said, you can be mad now. But when you get ready to talk to your fans, you better change that attitude, because they didn't come to see a bad attitude. They came to see you and your personality. And that's what you got to do. You cannot let your feelings dictate your whole day. And if you do, and it gets in your head, your entire day's ruined. You're going to lose fish. Your boat's going to break down. You're going to have a flat tire on the trailer. These things are going to happen. It's how you handle those situations that are going to be the difference between you being an amateur and a pro. And I'm going to tell you, they happen to me all the time, and I brush them off. And just like Brown was like, I can't believe you didn't even care that 5-6 pounder jumped off at the boat. Dude, it was a fish. It happens. Let's turn around and catch another one. And we do. And you catch another one. That's a attitude. When you pull up to somewhere, know that you're going to catch fish. And when you don't catch fish, be ready to deal with it, and deal with it professionally. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to catch fish tomorrow. Dude, it's fishing. It's not catching. It's fishing. Well, have fun.
Great advice.
Have fun when you go fishing.
Couldn't agree more. Great answer. I don't know if any of us can follow that, but we're going to try. I'm not going first. Who's going first?
I'll go first.
Trevor, that.
Go for it, Trevor.
Yes.
All right. What kind of attitude? Mischievous. Because I'm out there trying to trick the fish into thinking I have snacks for them. Because I just want to abduct them, take a picture to show my friends and family. And then I safely, gently release them back into the water.
Give him a kiss.
I do.
Give him a kiss and put it back in the
I
water.
have.
Absolutely.
100%.
100%.
Maybe comb the mustache a little bit, like that video you sent yesterday.
That's cooking.
That's cooking. Oh, it's cooking. Okay, I can cut that part out if you want me to.
No. I'm gonna comb this. I'm gonna comb it all.
It's just a little teaser.
I just need a catch.
A little teaser.
Yeah, I just need to catch the fish.
There. We will refuse to elaborate further, just to leave everybody wanting more. Awesome. Mischievous. I like it. That's not you at all, Trevor. You're never mischievous.
I wasn't expecting that.
What about you, Anthony?
I just try to relax. I don't know. I don't fish competitively, even in the online tournaments. I just like to shut out the world around me. I deal with people all day. It's just my way to unwind. Whether I go out on the kayak or just for like a half hour after work, it's therapeutic to me. So I just go out to unwind. That's my attitude. Whether I catch something or not, I don't really care. I just like casting.
I care.
That's because we're on a team. I promise. I'll try my best.
That's it.
But really, I just shut out the world. That's it. I just walk around the lake, or paddle around the lake, or boat around the lake, and just...
Or fall out of your kayak into the water around the
lake. Or fall out of my kayak, yeah. What's funny is, I went out night fishing the other day. I see a bullfrog like that. And I'm like,
No, don't swing at
I probably shouldn't try to catch him. I'll just leave him alone.
Take a swing.
The thing is, they just sit there. Good. Once the light is on them, they just sit there. So I'm like, I could totally catch that thing. No.
Yeah.
I need to leave them alone.
That's great.
Yeah, I would suggest you probably need to leave them alone.
Yeah, I do.
I would say
you ain't gonna find the wallet the second time. I can promise you that. You got lucky.
It's locked up. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse.
I would say I'm still trying to figure it out, honestly, because I've tried a few different approaches, like going out like I'm going to catch a ton of fish today, and then inevitably I don't. Or basically like I don't care if I catch a fish today, it doesn't matter, and then
you catch a PB.
I just still don't catch fish.
You still don't.
No. I've tried a mix. I've tried really preparing and like studying like what baits I should be bringing and throwing and where, and still don't catch fish. And then I tie on my old trusty Texas rig, ribbon tail worm, and maybe catch a fish, maybe one.
Yes.
Maybe one.
Yes.
So I've not really nailed down the attitude that you need to approach it with. What I can tell you is that I have a bit of a tendency to overreact slightly when things go wrong. So I'm going to take your advice today, John. I'm going to take it to heart and really think about and do some reflecting on how I handle my fishing adventures, because I'm getting ready to go to Canada for a week on a fishing trip, and I'm hoping that I can come back with my sanity intact if things don't go to plan. But as they usually don't. But that's okay. It's all about the fun anyways. It's therapeutic. It's relaxing whenever my heartbeat gets up to 120 and my blood pressure is, at stroke level. But I still love it. And a previous episode, not the last one, but a previous episode, I kind of referred to fishing as, it's kind of an abusive relationship if you're into fishing, because it's not always sweet. It's not always good.
Nope.
But when it is good, man, it's awesome. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my official answer is I don't really know. It's a great question. Something I should probably think about, and maybe I'll catch more fish.
That was a fantastic question by, what was it, Piney Magnet? Great question.
Piney Fish Magnet.
Piney Fish Magnet. Great question.
Piney Fish Magnet.
Great question.
Up in the pines of New Jersey. Really, really good question. But all right, gentlemen, it's been a fantastic conversation. John, thank you so much for
Thank y'all for having me on. Great podcast.
Thank you.
Anytime.
I love listening to y'all's
anytime.
podcast.
We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I want to have you back again, and I want to know how you break down the lake before you go out.
Ooh, that'll be a good one.
I want all your
That'll be a
secrets.
good one.
Let's see.
Episode 2 with John.
can you-
No, don't
can you
answer
say,
it now. Don't answer it.
Buy spots from people. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Yeah, we can talk about stuff like that. That's one of my biggest thing is
I think
how I break, because I do go to a lot of new lakes fishing with Bassmaster and fishing with MLF, and that's one of the things I love about fishing at this level. I go to a lot of lakes that I never would have gone to in my life. I never would have gone to Lake Champlain. I've been there twice.
You got to stop here on your way
James
next
River.
time.
Oh man, I tell you, Lake Okeechobee. These lakes are on my bucket list. Lake Fork, Lake Sam Rayborn. Santee Cooper. These lakes are on my bucket list, and I have to go fish them because they're on the tournament schedule, and so I have to go learn them. And that's. I have more fun. I'll tell you what, I had so much fun running Okeechobee. And you get to see those videos. If you don't know anything about Okeechobee, you get these like boat lanes that are as wide as your boat. And there's like 3 foot of water. And you've got to run them. If you sit down, you'll never get back on pad. And it's like running through the woods on a dirt bike or something. And that's so much fun. And to learn how to do that stuff by yourself and then go catch fish at the same time, that's just learning these lakes is just as much fun as fishing. I enjoy
Episode 2 with John.
Here we go.
Yeah, definitely. I need to learn how to do that for sure. I don't even know how to fish my own. I don't even know how to fish my own lake.
Agreed.
I go there all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Anybody else have any crazy things going on? Anything we need to talk about, or are we good to...
I'm giving this away.
Anthony put the...
Look at that.
Oh, look at
Look at
That's
right
pretty.
Hold on.
So we talked about
it's a
it in the
fish.
last episode.
It's a fish. Oh, it's a... No, it's a... I'm hard of hearing. I got it.
We talked about it in the last episode, me and Zach. We're going to give this away for the 4th of July. And I've been wanting to send you one of these, John and Brian, but, geez. I changed the design a little. Made the front a little longer. So, yeah, we're giving this away, 4th of July. And hopefully those will be out
Can I have
soon.
That's cool.
You can try. I don't know how we're giving it away.
Can I enter the giveaway?
Sure. Little blood.
I'm just kidding. What about you, Trevor? How's that three-piece mold? Oh, he brought it
Oh
today.
yeah.
Hey,
Thank
That's a
you,
big
Anthony.
boy.
That looks good.
It's exciting. That's how
Did
it
you get
is.
to fish with it yet?
give
I
me
did.
one of those. I'll catch a 10-pounder on it. Let me do your
I got you. Right away.
I bet you would.
I love that.
So,
Is it everything you dreamed of and more?
Everything.
Trev.
Yeah.
Trev.
It's got the action you wanted. So Anthony didn't screw it up.
It's perfect.
I
Yes,
did
Anthony.
nothing. It was all him. Does it crank down or is it only awake?
No, you can crank it. It'll get down about 3 feet.
Really?
Oh wow.
That's awesome. That's gonna be an awesome bait.
Can you fish that like a wake bait? Like along a
absolutely.
dock and like wake it? Yeah, yeah. Right on.
Yes.
So it's wake to 3 feet.
Yes.
Ooh,
Depending
that's
on-
good for dock fishing.
Retrieve speed.
Yeah, I can't wait
It's
for
good.
that.
That's gonna kill.
Uh-huh.
That's gonna kill. I like it.
So, have you
like it.
decided if you're going to do the 2-piece and 3-piece combo?
Yeah.
You are?
Got to, right?
Does the front half have to be weighted differently for the 2 and 3-piece?
No.
That's awesome. Yeah, then you can definitely do the 2 and 3-piece combo. That's going to be a killer bait.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, thank you for your help.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't do nothing. I don't know.
Yeah.
He just clicked some buttons.
Yeah, I just clicked buttons.
He's modest. More than I can do.
Clicked buttons, mix some stuff up.
It's crazy that it all starts from a drawing.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm
If you don't
amazed
get-
at the way
if-
you
oh, yeah.
guys, the time y'all put into this, like the R&D, like into the pools and the weights, and like I know what I want, and then like Anthony asked me a question about it. I'm like, hey, I want it to suspend. Like if I drop it in the water, I want it to suspend right here. The time that y'all put into the split rings, the hooks, you know, the lead that's in it to make it get to these depths, that's amazing. Now,
Well,
Especially for something that suspends.
Yeah,
that's the hardest
Yeah,
one. Why are you being so rough on it?
it is hard to
and
suspend.
those paint jobs, Trevor, Anthony and Trevor, like, man, I'm telling you, and Jesse, I'm a big balsa wood fan. I love balsa wood stuff.
He
I
likes
saw
the
one of Trevor-
DT6.
Man, I saw one of Trevor's baits on Instagram recently, and I guess it's because he's you do tattoos, right?
I do.
Yeah, so maybe it's got something to do with your coloring and your shading from your tattoos. Man, that color on that bait on your one of your recent Instagrams posts, holy smokes, that color it looks fantastic. If I had a hot
Thank you.
rod, I'd want you to paint my hot rod.
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you. I would paint it.
I want you to paint my body. That's weird.
That's it. Way to make it weird, Anthony.
I'm good at that.
You're the
I
best.
told him the other day I said I want a hand job. We did my whole arm. I said I think I need a hand job. He's like, okay.
And then Anthony walked into the bathroom.
Boy, if you want a weird
Okay.
if you want a weird situation, shoot me a message.
Hang out with
I
Anthony.
don't. I really don't. I really don't. I prefer not. Oh, all right. I think we better stop recording before things get not YouTube friendly. I think we already we crossed that line a while ago, but it's all right. I can fix it. No. Again, John, thank you. This has been great. We will absolutely have you on. I definitely want to hear how you pick apart a lake.
Yeah,
and,
Jesse,
and break it
Trevor,
down. I
Anthony,
think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank all of y'all for having me on. I absolutely enjoyed it. What a good time.
Of course.
Good time.
Thanks for joining us,
course.
John.
And it's
Absolutely.
yeah, and oh, I almost forgot. Like, subscribe, follow on Instagram and on Spotify and on
All that.
whatever you can find us on. Even if it's not us, just follow random strangers and your day will be better. I promise. Thank you all for sticking with us through to the end. We hope you were able to take away some of the incredible knowledge and wisdom from John that we were able to. And yeah, we will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
did great.
There.
Wait,